This guy says the horse can.
Hello, racing fans, and welcome to a special edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through day one of Breeders' Cup 30. There's 5 Breeders' Cup races on the Friday program, then there'll be 9 on the Saturday. We'll separate them. We'll do 2 shows, but the Friday show, of course, the first race goes, I think, at 1:45 with the Breeders' Cup Marathon, so it should be a lot of fun.
As always, great cards, very tough to handicap. I noticed we did land on a few of the same horses. Some races were totally different. Everybody that comes to these races comes for a reason.
They got a lot of ones on their form.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to separate.
You can make a case for a lot of these horses. So we're going to go through and try and decipher a little bit, maybe give you a little bit of idea, a little bit of help of what's going on, the best we can figure out. We might as well jump right into it, Mike.
Yeah, let's go. And if you do Friday, if you're not doing anything, come down here to the Derby Bar and Grill and watch the races on Friday. We'll have them.
Of course, the first Breeders' Cup race is actually the 6th race on the Santa Anita program. It goes at 1:45, and there will be a lot of interest here at the Derby Bar and Grill for this race. The first Breeders' Cup race that's scheduled to go at 1:45 is the Breeders' Cup Marathon, of course, with local horse and one that's in our hearts here at the Derby Bar and Grill, our owner, Glenn Todd. His horse, Commander, making his start. He ran in this race last year.
Little sharp.
I feel, he went up to the lead. Jay Cito pushed him. They went very quickly.
For a mile and 3/4.
Yeah, it was just too much for him to overcome. Looking at this race, I didn't think it was as salty a field as it was last year, and it's not as full a field. There's only 10 horses. There is a bit of speed that concerned me, but I did go with the hometown pick. I went with Commander on top. His numbers are good for the distance. We know he can get the distance. If he can get out there and get left alone a little bit, that first half mile, that's going to really decide. Aaron Grider, who had a lot of success with him this year up in Canada, is scheduled to ride him tomorrow. I put him on top. The second horse I went with was a horse named Indian Jones. A horse that's coming out of the Midwest, out of the Parks and Laurel circuit, but has been running very well out there. You know, he can, it seems like he can get the distance. His breeding, his numbers are pretty good. And he just looks to me like a horse that has the right kind of style for this. Yeah. He can go to the lead if it's slow. He can lay just off it. And in third spot, I put a horse named Everrider, the 4 horse, with Hall of Fame rider Gary Stevens aboard. This horse is coming out of Argentina. I believe it's the same connections that won this race last year with Kaleidoscopio. So they know how to have a horse ready to go this far. He's ran this distance 12 times with 3 wins out of the 12. I got him in third spot. I got 3, 6, and 4 in the first Breeders' Cup race, the 6th race tomorrow at Santa Anita.
Yeah, race 6 will be the first Breeders' Cup race, as you mentioned. I didn't take Commander. I know it's like you're supposed to it's like cheering for your kids when they're playing hockey. You know they're not very good.
I'll start looking for another co-host for next year.
I'm going to go to Old Time Hockey, the 1 horse. He's got strictly grass form, but I watched his action on the grass, and he doesn't have a big high knee action or anything. He looks like he may take to the dirt. He's just been doing reasonably well on the grass, and they've kept him there. But he is a mile and 3/4 horse. I think he will get the trip. He's had excuses in some graded races in his last 2, and this isn't, as you mentioned, last year was tougher. The marathon last year was much tougher with Anti-Gun, and there was some Kaleidoscopio. There were some nice horses in that mile and 3/4 race. This one's kind of come up quite a bit softer, I think, which of course gives Commander a better shot. But this Old Time Hockey, those races are good against some Indy Point, who I picked in the 1.5 mile race tomorrow. But Old Time Hockey got into trouble in that race. He's had his share of excuses, and if he handles the dirt, he'll win. My only concern with him, as maybe I'm reading too much into it, is I think Gary Stevens would have been on this horse for Tom Proctor if it was super live, and Gary Stevens ends up on the 4 horse, Everrider, who I picked second, and perhaps is really live. The only concern with me is the horse hasn't worked in 18 days, and I'm not too sure why. The horse has been working every week and kind of is on the missing list with works, but you can't fault his record, as you mentioned when you picked him top 3. He's got good record at the distance. He can run that far. And that's half the battle. That's 3/4 of the battle. If you can run this far, that's a plus.
Yeah, it's
definitely. Class does not. The class
doesn't mean as much in a race like this. It's the horse that'll get the distance.
long-winded horses that'll win. And I put the 10-horse Worldly. He's been running against Fort Larned. Running, a mile and 3/4 is an issue with him, but still, I think he has a class edge on a lot of these. He's running in the tougher races. He's got good numbers. A nice 101 buyer behind Fort Larned, who's in the Classic tomorrow, and David Flores will be back aboard. I just thought those were the 3 horses. Pool Play. I think he's off form. Blue Skies and Rainbows. Not too sure about the distance with him. The Euro horse, London Bridge, Indian Jones. He was running at Parks and everything, but I know you like him a bit.
Yeah.
He at least he can go that far. Sun's Out, Guns Out, another horse that went blinkers on last time and ran better. That would be my 4th horse, the 5-horse. Sun's Out, Guns Out. This horse really was full of run at the end of that race, and he did encounter some trouble in that 1.5-mile race with El Dapper. So if you're looking for a shot, maybe the 5-horse Sun's Out, Guns Out would be a long one to put in there. But I went 1, 4, and 10 in the Breeders' Cup Marathon, 1 3/4. They'll start at the 6 furlong start, race around to the wire, and then once again. So that's why it was crazy last year when Commander went 1:12 for the opening 6 furlongs. Still got a mile to go after that.
Yeah, exactly.
That was tough on him.
That suicided him. Make sure you have a full drink in front of you when you
I know, it takes a while. Okay, we got 2-year-olds here in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf in race number 7, which will be the second race we look at here. These are the colts and geldings.
7th race at San Diego on the card.
13 of them lined up. No Lasix here, which is interesting. No Lasix for the 2-year-olds.
That's right.
Which I think really benefits the European type horses because they generally don't run on the Lasix program. But I went to the 13 Bashert. This horse, he was best in the Bourbon at Keeneland. This horse didn't get away well, was in between horses, was up on a fast pace, very wide. This horse was 4 wide through the opening half-mile. There was like a torrential downpour that day, and this horse, he was quite courageous in running second. But it was a race that was taken off the turf. He gets back on the turf. I think he has enough speed to overcome post 13. It is a mile. It's not like the dirt mile where it is like about 10 jumps to the turn. On the turf course, you got quite a run into the turn. It's not a super long one, but at least it's 3/16 of a mile.
You have some room to get over.
You can make it because he is fast enough. And I'm going to try Bashert for Velasquez and Pletcher. I put the 2-horse. I went to the Europeans after that. Giovanni Boldini and the 4-horse Outstrip. Both bring in good records. They both have very good riders on them, and they come with high recommendations too. I mean, their time form ratings are very big, and it just seems like in these 2-year-old races, in the turf ones, that these Europeans do dominate. And I know I took a U.S. one in Bashert, but I would be surprised to see the 2 or the 4. I went 13, 2, and 4 in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf.
I went to the 2, a horse you just mentioned,
Giovanni Boldini.
Giovanni Boldini. Aidan O'Brien has won this race 2 of the last 3 years. Nice. Aidan O'Brien's maybe the top conditioner in the world. He's definitely in the conversation for that title. I always watch his horses when he comes over. He always picks off a few races, and this one is kind of one of his signature races. As you mentioned, this horse is used to not running on Lasix.
That's a plus. That's a big
plus. Yeah, he's a war front. His numbers are extremely good for the distance.
Expensive yearling, sorry. I meant to mention that. Expensive yearling purchase. This horse is cut out to be a really nice. He's a U.S. bred by Warfront, who are just, they're kicking it.
Doing
the
very
Warfronts
well.
are extremely nice horses.
And his record over there is good. I'm going to touch on this a few times throughout the 2 days. It's rare you see a European horse come in with like win. A lot of times it's more of a speckled form because they do run in huge fields over there, so there'll be some seconds and thirds thrown in. Don't let that scare you off. A lot of times on Breeders' Cup Day, people are looking for horses that just pile up wins. The Euros don't tend to do that as much. As long as they're running good, decent races.
They use prep race. I mean, they don't ask their horse for their best in July.
Every race.
Every race. We do.
Yeah.
We try and win every single time.
Yeah.
And the Euros, a closing third is good.
Yeah,
and then a month later, a good second
because
at a new distance.
They're pointing to something else.
They build block. They make the necessary steps to develop a horse to peak at the right time. And now is the right time in Europe as well as now, of course, for Breeders' Cup.
Exactly, and that's why I landed on Giovanni. And especially a mile, I don't think it's a problem because he's ran 3 times all 7 furlongs. So that extra, exactly, that extra furlong is not going to bother him. The second spot, I put Bobby's Kitten, Chad Brown, a hot young trainer back east, batting at 28% right now. This horse is one of those ones that's starting to pile up wins. 2 out of the first 3. Just got to be able to length his first start, comes back, wins, maiden special weight, then wins a grade 3 at Belmont. Nice 91 buyer, and he's a Kitten's Joy. Kitten's Joys are running very well.
He's the best grass sire in
North
US,
America.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got him in the second spot, and Ken and Sarah Ramsey could not be any hotter. Every time we look up at one of the TVs here, they're winning a race.
Big
and
R.
in the third spot, I put your horse, Bashert, out of the Todd Pletcher barn. Obviously great form. Looks to be very tough in here. Another war front, mind you. I got him in the third spot. I got 2, 5, and 13. In the seventh, the Juvenile Turf. On to the eighth, our third race on the Breeders' Cup program. This is the Dirt Mile. Very nice race. This is a solid race. There is a field of
12 for sure.
12 for sure. There is one on the
There's
also
one waiting to
eligibles.
get in.
I went to the 4-horse Brujo de Oleros, if I'm saying that correctly.
Brujo. I don't know how to say it, but
I got the Ragusan sheets for the first time this
Yeah.
week. I had a tutoring course for my brother, and this was the one horse that really stood out to me. He's 8-1 morning line. He's got good connections. Just got beat 3/4 length by Great R, who was nominated to a few different races on Breeders' Cup Day. Something must have happened to him.
He had a
didn't
quarter crack.
Yeah, there you are.
Quarter crack.
Didn't show up in any of them, but he would have been very tough in whichever race he had chose. So I landed on the 4, Brujo de Oleros. The second spot, I went to the 10, Verrazano. Really disappointed me last time, along with a lot of other people in the Travers. He was well back that day, bet down to $1.60. Just didn't fire that day. But if you throw that race out, his form is almost impeccable. Other than the Kentucky Derby, he's one that he's going to be very tough in here. Probably your likely favorite. Top connections with Todd Pletcher and John Velasquez. And at third spot, I went with kind of a hometown horse. He never actually ran here. He was based in the prairies for Robertino Diodoro. Broadway Empire. He's been very impressive. A horse that's getting better and better. Definitely the question is, what has he been beating? He hasn't been running against horses like this, especially in the race in Canada.
Right.
But he did go down to the race at Remington Park and absolutely destroy them, running off to win by 4. He's going to be part of the early pace. A mile seems to hit him right on the head. He's an empire maker at a Belong to Me mare. Don't be scared of this horse. Rico Walcott couldn't be any hotter. What you're noticing now, too, a lot when you see our riders from here, like Fernando Perez, Mario Gutierrez.
They fit.
They
They're
absolutely
good. We got
fit in
good
there.
riders
Kevin
here.
Krieger. These riders from the Northwest in Canada, they go down there, they do very well. So don't be scared of kind of a no-name rider, if you will, down there, Rico Walcott. He'll fit in there just fine. I went to 4, 10, and 6 in the 8th, the Dirt Mile.
Yeah, to touch on the riders again. If you can ride at Hastings, you can ride anywhere.
It sure seems
Hastings
like
is
that,
a tough
doesn't it?
track to ride
Yeah.
at because you can really look bad at Hastings. It's
Yeah.
really easy to look bad on our track because you can be. It's easy to be in the wrong spot.
Mistakes
at
are
the wrong
magnified.
time.
Yeah, your mistakes are definitely magnified.
When you can maneuver a horse and be pretty crafty and make decisions quickly, like you have to at Hastings, you'll fit in on a mile racetrack very, very nicely. I've gone to Broadway Empire in the Dirt Mile. I think this
good.
horse is going to get a trip.
Yeah.
There's no speed in the race. I don't see any speed in here.
There's not
I think
much, no.
Broadway Empire is going to get the lead, and he's been carrying his speed 1 1/8. I remember I carried 1 3/8 against lesser horses in the Canadian Derby, but he's a miler. I think he's a
I think
good,
it hits right in the head.
solid mile horse. He can sprint a mile,
Yeah.
and I just think he can go 22, 44 and 4, or 45 flat if he has to. 9 or 8, 9 and 9 flat, and keep going.
If the Canadian Derby was a mile, how far would he have won that by?
Yeah, no, he's a really nice horse. I've grown to like him. I was skeptical, but once the blinkers came off, Robertino decided he was a little too headstrong. He was stakes placed at Hollywood Park behind Let Him Shine, who's a nice 7 furlong horse, like one of the top 3-year-old 7 furlong horses in Southern California. But that was when he was wearing blinkers. He's a new horse now without the blinkers.
That's also before he had the seasoning and everything, too.
He's only had 6 lifetime starts. I mean, this horse is making his 7th start, and he's running against some solid horses, but not over-the-top crazy horses. Verrazano, I can shoot holes in that horse. Golden Sense, who I think is probably maybe the best horse in the race, drew so poorly, it's going to be tough for him to win. I put the 2 Golden Ticket in for second. I think this horse is a good mile horse. I'm a little worried about the pace scenario because he is an off-the-pace horse, but Joel Rosario, I'm sure he'll be able to get him into a good spot and not be too far back if the pace is slow. Maybe he'll have to weave it. He'll need luck to win the race, but I think he's good enough. I mean, you look at his races. He's been running against some Grade 1 horses, and I know he hasn't been winning, but he's been hooking into some pretty nice horses, and he faces an easier test. And I put Golden Sense in for third. Rafael Bejarano's going going to have to call on all of his riding skills to get this horse a trip from the 12 hole, because it is a short run to the first turn. But I think the quality is there. He's another horse that changed blinkers last time. He'd been in blinkers for a couple starts, and then he went blinkers off. And he was closing well at the end of that, but fell a little short to the unlucky, obviously, the ill-fated points off the bench.
Yeah.
But I like Broadway Empire. I just don't see any speed in the race. I looked, Central Intelligence, I don't know, Inform, he's more of a poly-track horse.
Yeah.
Pants on Fire, he's a nice grade 3 horse. He's all right. Holy Loot, lightly raced. Even your horse, I don't know what to do with your horse, but I could see him perhaps being a big player. But Fed Biz, this race is, even him book, this race is filled with horses that they're not in top form, but they have potential.
Yeah.
And I think Broadway Empire is in top form. That's why I'm going to stick with him. Yeah. And I think he's going to get the lead. So I'm just going to go 6. I'm going to say Broadway Empire. Rico Walcott just puts him on the lead and, leads them on I'm hoping to lead him on a merry chase. I went 6, 2, and 12 in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. We'll move along to the Juvenile Turf for the fillies.
Girls' turn.
Yep. Got a full field of 14. I'm going to go... to the 14, my Conquistador, filly that's been absolutely impressive in her 2 starts.
Yeah.
She ran against the boys in her debut.
In a grade 2 of Woodbine.
Crushed him in her first start. Then we had a troubled run in the Alcibiades at Keeneland. Still managed to... It wasn't a strong Alcibiades, but you just had to see the race to appreciate it. This filly's very nice. She's gifted. And the only concern is the 14. I mean, that's a tricky draw. And once again, this is a turf race, so... The start will be a little farther back because it's inside the 1 mile main turn. It's only 7 furlong turf course, so you get a pretty good run into the turn. I'm hoping Eurico Rosa da Silva can get this horse into a good spot. I put the 6 horse Vorda, a French filly, in the mix, and the 10 Clenor, an Irish filly that's been running at Santa Anita and Del Mar. I mean, Clenor's been brilliant. She's the best horse in California.
Yeah.
So now it's a matter of the California horses are good enough. But Vorda with Olivier Peslier, a French filly.
Very nice.
I know. I've been practicing my French. Yeah, right. But this filly's been going very well in France and been running in Group 1 races, Group 2 races, and very, very accomplished. And as we said before, prior to the colt race, the 2-year-old juvenile race, the Europeans dominate these kind of races. Yeah. And I know I'm trying to beat another Euro, but this is the logical horse. I would say the 6 and the 8 horse, who apparently Chrysalium is kind of come heralded. They're the top European type horses, and they, just reading the form, those are the ones that the European people feel are their top chances. So. But I did put my Conquistador for Mark Casse on top with Vorda, the French filly, in for second, and Clenor, the top California filly, who was Irish bred though, but she's been winning impressively. She's been running against some biases and running very well. And the key to her too, she's been here for a while. Yeah. She came over from Europe. She's been here for a while. She's acclimatized to California. So I went 14, 6, and 10.
I did go with one of the European horses. One you didn't mention, Testa Rossi.
Yeah, she won in New York.
French filly, yeah, exactly. I like that fact. She strung together 3 wins in a row in France, then came over and had to start in America in Belmont Park, and won that race. It was a grade 3, but she made a huge move and opened up and was getting caught a little bit late. By Sky Painter, the horse that I picked second. Mm-hmm. But that was going to mile 16th. Maybe cutting back to a mile could be just to her liking. So I got Testa Rossi on top. I just mentioned I got Sky Painter in second. Another horse that makes a nice move. Can lay a little bit closer if the pace isn't quite there. A well-bred daughter, Street Cry, out of a Sky Mason mare. Kira McLaughlin, Godolphin Stables. Very strong connections there.
I think her experience just got her beat that day.
Yeah.
The other horse had a pile of starts. She was just making her second start.
Yeah, she was making her sixth start. She was making her
this
second
horse was
start.
running. It was catching her. She was just a little green and it cost her.
Yeah, so those are the 2 that I have on top. Testa Rossi and Sky Painter. And in the 3rd spot, I put Colonel Joan, owned by Mark DiDomenico.
Yes, another local horse.
Another local connection there, trained by Owen Hardy. A horse that's been getting better and better with each start. She ran 6th, come back in the main specialweight, just got beat ahead, and made an absolutely huge move. Just walked out of the gate, was going very wide under Joe Telmo, and just got beat length and a half in that Surfer Girl stake at Santa Anita. So she's been over the track, and Joe Telmo sticks with her. I like Joe Telmo's riding. Owen Hardy knows how to have them ready, and Colonel Johns are running very well, so I don't mind her. Her numbers are good for the distance, and she's improving every time. As her buyer pattern, right, 49.63, then a big 80. She seems to be going the right way. I don't know if she can win it, but I think she will be moving late and could make a big case late in the race, maybe to get up there for third. Right. I got 12, 13, and 3.
A little easier handicapping event, this one.
On to the 10th, yeah.
Only a 6-pack here.
6-pack for the Distaff, the championship race for the older mares. There is some 3-year-old fillies in here. This will determine who is your Miss America, if you will, your mare of the year. Mm-hmm. I went to Princess of Silmar. I couldn't decide. I kept flip-flopping back and forth between her and Royal Delta. I think Royal Delta is coming into the race even better than she did last year. But Princess of Silmar beat her last time, and she's a 3-year-old. So the further along in the year you go, and maybe the more mature she gets and everything, the better she's going to be. I see more of an upside for her. So I got Princess of Silmar out of the Todd Pletcher barn on top, Royal Delta in the second spot. Those are the two. And obviously, Beholder is turned into a very nice. She's only 3-2, and compiled a very good record. Looked early on like she'd be maybe more of a sprinter, but has had no problem getting the distance. Mile and eighth won't be a problem for her. Those are the 3, but I think it's Royal Delta and Princess Silmar, I think, are here, then Beholder, and then a ways back to the rest of them. I got 6, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I agree with the 6, Princess of Silmar. I've liked this mare all year. I actually liked her on Kentucky Oaks Day, and she's actually blossomed ever since then. She's just.
That's right. I remember that. You got a good price on her.
Yeah, 38-1, and she was a filly that came from New York and was beating nothing, and she didn't get any respect in Kentucky, and now she's getting respect. She won at Saratoga twice, won this coaching club American Oaks, and then the Alabama, and then came back to defeat a very nice Royal Delta in the Beldame, and she did it sitting close. She's versatile, and I love mares that are versatile. I just think Beholder and Royal Delta will get involved at some point. It may not be the opening quarter, it may not be the opening half, but it might be between the half and the 6 furlong call where things start to quicken, and Princess of Silmar will get a great trip sitting behind them, because it is 9 furlongs. I think 9 furlongs favors Princess of Silmar. It definitely hurts Beholder. There's a mile 16th or a mile. Beholder would be really dangerous. Yeah. She can sprint that far. But with Royal Delta, Mike Smith's going to be climbing all over Gary Stevens with Beholder. He has no choice but to do that at some point on the backstretch. And I just think that'll play out nicely for Javier Castellano. I think he's just going to get a good trip. So I like Princess of Silmar. I put Royal Delta. Closed hatches also figures well. I think this horse could get him running on for third. So let's go 6, 4, and 3. But I do like Princess of Silmar to win the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Well, that'll do it for the analysis of the 5 Breeders' Cup races on the Friday, November 1st program. Next up on screen, we'll take a quick recap of those races back in, we'll call it race number 1, but it is race number 6 at Santa Anita. I went to the 1-horse Old Time Hockey over the 4 and 10. I'm calling for an upset in the Breeders' Cup Marathon. Race number 2, I went to 13 Bashert over the 2 Giovanni Boldini and the 4 Outstrip. Race number 3, I went to the 6 Broadway Empire. I know it's kind of a hometown pick, but I just think this horse is going to get a great trip on the lead. There's no speed in the race. I'm hoping Rico Walcott can put him right on the chooch and play catch me if you can. I went 6, 2, and 12, but I do think the 12 Golden Sense is the best horse, but this might need some luck with the trip. In the 4th race, which will be race number 9 on the program, I went to the 14 My Conquistador over the 6 Vorda and the 10 Clenor, and in the final race, the Breeders' Cup Distaff, the 6 Princess of Silmar. For me, I went 6, 4, 5. Here's Drew's picks. Up
next will be me. There we go. In the first race, I went to speaking of hometown choices, I went to the 3 Commander. I'd love to see him win this over the 6 Indian Jones and the 4 Ever Rider. In the second, which would be the 7th race, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, I went with a big fan of Aidan O'Brien, Giovanni Boldini over the 5 Bobby's Kitten and the 13 Bashert. In the third, I went to the 4 Brujo de Oleros, Brazilian bred, number 4, over the 10 Verrazano and the 6 Broadway Empire. In the 4th, which is the 9th, is that what I said?
That is it. Race 9 on the Santa Anita program.
The Juvenile Fillies Turf, I went to the 12 Testa Rossi over the 13 Sky Painter and the 3 Colonel Joan. And in the Distaff, I went to the 6 Princess of Silmar over the 4 Royal Delta and the 5 Beholder. that'll do it for day 1 of the Breeders' Cup, our analysis for the Friday card. Stay tuned. We will be back to do the Saturday, the big day, the Saturday card. Good luck on Breeders' Cup Day. If you can cash some tickets, it's always very fortuitous. As large pools.
There's always big price. Even the chalk exactors are like $30 and $40. It's like it's a great opportunity to see great racing and get some good payoffs as well. Hopefully, our insight has helped you out. Don't forget if you can't make it down to Hastings or Fraser Downs. It's always a great atmosphere here at the Derby Bar and Grill to watch the Friday races. So come on out. The first Breeders' Cup race once again starts at 1:45. Tomorrow, Friday. We're taping on Thursday, so it is tomorrow. The Breeders' Cup Marathon will kick things off with those big Breeders' Cup, all that big money. So on behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in to day 1 of Breeders' Cup 30. Please check us out for Breeders' Cup the second day on Saturday, November the 2nd. We will also go through all 9 Breeders' Cup races then. So good luck in your wagers on the Friday, and we'll see you next time.
Cause on the morning line, the guy's got him figured at 5 to 9. So make it effort.